Here are 8 tips to be a high performer at your job, so hopefully you can get a really nice performance rating this year and maybe even a promotion. And if you want more free weekly career advice just like this, make sure you click subscribe down below. Now, I know that there's a lot of other content and videos already on YouTube about how to be a high performer, but in this video, I'm going to be focusing specifically on how to be a high performer at work. And that means all of the practical advice that you're going to get in this video is going to be centered around work. We are not going to be talking about the successful habits like setting your bed in the morning, or having a cup of coffee, or how you want to write down your goals on a vision board. Those are all very good high-level ways for successful people to become high performers, but I wanted to talk about this in a work context. The very first tip to be a high performer at work is to come prepared with solutions, not just talking or complaining about the problems. One of the biggest gripes as a manager is when one of your subordinates is constantly complaining about how things are broken or all of the roadblocks that they're facing in their daily job, but they never come prepared with any ideas or solutions on how to fix these. These can be extremely difficult and frustrating conversations for your manager and even for you as an employee. So if you want to be recognized or seen as a high or top performer, you need to be prepared with ideas and solutions for any of these problems you may be encountering. This shows them that you are solutions oriented and are thinking about proactive ways to critically problem solve and figure out ideas on your own. And the second tip is to learn what is important at your job and what are the auxiliary things, responsibilities, details, emails that you don't actually need to know or spend too much of your brain power and effort on. This will come with time once you get fully onboarded and ramped up at your company or in your job, but you need to be thinking critically about where should you be spending your time and where do you not need to be spending your time. One of the greatest examples I can think of from my own job is that my company sends out tons and tons of FYI emails about changing policies and procedures and processes and upgrading different tools and different updates. So my inbox gets flooded every week with at least 5 or 6 really long emails about all these FYIs. But what I've come to learn is that I don't need to read these 50-page emails all the time. Whatever is important should either be covered by my manager in our next team meeting or will be informed to me whenever I need to move on towards a certain part of a process. Plus, everything at my company changes almost every 3 months anyways, and so why would I need to spend the time memorizing or learning a new process that's probably just going to end up changing or doesn't even affect my day-to-day routines anyways. And this next tip actually builds on the previous one, and that is that you need to remember or recognize that working a lot or working hard does not mean you are doing a good job. Now, you may be thinking this or hearing this all the time at your work, which is, I've been working overtime this week. I've been putting in so many hours on the weekend. I've been sacrificing time with my family, but I don't feel like I'm getting recognized for the amount of work that I'm putting in. I am killing myself for this company. Now, if this sounds familiar, sometimes it is very unfair and true, where you can be working on all the right things, working on overtime, working more than you really need to, and are not being recognized for it. But there are also times where I find some of my clients are spending a lot of time on activities that aren't really important, or are activities that could be saved for later, could be passed on to other team members, could be delegated to someone else, or could be brought into a group project so they don't have to own all of their responsibilities by themselves. It's basically the saying where you need to work smarter, not harder. Sometimes. Now, the next way to be seen as a high performer at your job is to make your boss's job even easier. Or think about ways that you can make your boss look really good to their boss. Assuming you have a boss who really does value you and your career, if you are making them look good to their superiors, they will be turning around and helping you when it's time for your performance reviews. Because after all, the biggest influence in the success of your performance or your promotions will be on your direct manager, and they're going to be willing to go above and beyond to support you if you are going above and beyond to make them look really good. So, how do you apply this at work? Well, if your boss taps you or asks you specifically to work on or to lead a specific project or do a specific task, you should be prioritizing this and making sure that you are doing it to the best of your ability, making sure you're giving it 110% effort as well as attention to detail. That will make you look really good to them and make them look like they are the best manager ever. Now, if you truly want to be a high or top performer at work, you need to understand, memorize, and truly know how the promotion and performance review process works behind the scenes at your company. Don't just read the standard document from HR or whatever you can find on your internal websites about the promotion process. You need to be talking with your manager, you need to be talking with friends, you need to be becoming friends with other managers on other teams who can give you the inside scoops of what really, really matters and how these promotions and ratings are ultimately decided. You need to be understanding who is in the room when these decisions are being made, who truly has a lot of influence and power in these decisions when it comes to your performance rating and your promotions. You need to understand what are the different nuances, what are the specific types of projects and impact that they need to be seeing at your job so that you can get better performance ratings. You shouldn't just trust your manager or trust the system to take care of you. You need to understand how the system works and play it into your favor. And once you can understand how the performance review process really does work behind the scenes, you need to make sure you are getting the visibility with all of the key decision makers and stakeholders. If it turns out your manager does not play a really big role in the overall performance ratings that are given out to employees, then you need to be making sure you're getting face time with those executives or managers or directors who truly are the decision makers when it comes time to your performance. You need to make sure that you're scheduling meetings with them. You need to go to their office hours. You need to schedule one-on-one meetings. You need to go out of your way to get visibility with them. They need to know what you're working on and what kind of impact you're having throughout the year, not only when it comes time to your performance reviews. Now, the next thing you need to be thinking about if you want to be a high performer at work is thinking about scalability and helping not just yourself, but your broader team. So, when you think about your career progression and how typically companies are set up and they look at levels and promotions, when you join right out of college as an entry-level engineer or an entry-level person, they expect you to be an individual contributor who's very good at executing and doing their specific job or your job that they hired you for. Then, once you're in your role for a year or 2 years, the expectation would be that you can train other new folks who join your team and start thinking about ways to make process improvements or create efficiencies, not just for you, but for your immediate close team. Then, if you want to get promoted to the next level, you need to be thinking about how you can not just help your individual team, but the other teams that are closely related to your organizations. Then, to reach the next level in a company, you typically have to be impacting or thinking about helping not just your broader organization, but maybe the entire function that you're in as a whole. Now, my next tip is actually very, very important, and that is that you need to take responsibility and ownership for your own career and your development. You should not put all of your trust into your manager. You should not trust the system or trust the process to take care of you. Only you can truly drive and own your career. So you need to be thinking about what are the specific projects that you need to be getting on so that you can get the appropriate scope and impact to demonstrate that you're operating at the next level. You need to take ownership of where your strengths and weaknesses are overall as an employee. You need to know and master the performance review process so that you can play it to your advantage and know how to work the system. If you were trying to get on some really cool projects but your manager keeps blocking you or people keep telling you that you are not ready, then you need to take ownership of this, figure out what your skill gaps currently are and go out and get those skills so that you can get on these bigger, cooler projects. Or if you are receiving roadblocks that you feel are unfair, you need to find ways to leverage your political capital so that you can get on these types of projects even though your manager is blocking you. At the end of the day, the only person that you can blame for your success or failure as an employee or as a performer is yourself. Now, the last and what I believe is the most important tip here to become a higher top performer at work is that you need to recognize that other people's success is not at the cost of your success. You can all win together. If you can start to feel yourself getting jealous for some of your coworkers' success or some of your peers' success at work, then you need to remind yourself that all of you can win together. It is not at the cost of your career. Instead, you should be asking yourself, what is this person doing that I may not be doing so that I can replicate that for myself? Or how can I be partnering with this person on certain projects or initiatives so that I can also get recognized for that same amount of impact, so that I can get promoted too? Alright, so there you have 8 proven tips from my own career as well as people that I have been coaching so that you can become a high performer at work. And let us know what other tips you have for our community down in the comment section below. And I'm going to pin those so that everybody can help become successful together. Remember, it is not a competition and we can help all of us win together in our Career Shakers community. Thank you all for watching and I'll see you in the next video.